ඔබත් SLT පාරිභෝගිකයෙකු නම් ඔබේ හිතවතෙකුට SLT නව සබඳතාවයක් 50%ක වටනමක් සහිතව ලබා දී ඔබේ බිල්පතට රුපියල් 6000ක් දක්වා වටනමක් හිමි කරගන්න.
Tonight, on the way, Attorney General issues arrest warrant for former Health Minister Dr. Rajitha Senaratne over white van allegations. Under the bus, Colombo North SP Sanjeeva Bandara names IGP and other police bigwigs as ultimately responsible for Easter attack bumbling. On a technicality, former Minister Patali Champika Ranawaka released on bail after magistrate says arrest under Public Property Act sans Attorney General's approval. Solemn celebration. Archbishop of Colombo calls on faithful to remember Easter victims with humble Christmas celebrations.
This year in Sri Lanka we have an added reason to celebrate this Christmas in a humble fashion.
All that and much more coming up on First at 9. This Tuesday, the 24th of December, 2019.
From AdaDerana, this is AdaDerana First at 9.
මේ සීන් එකෙන් කට් වෙන්න ඇන්ටිජර් මවුත්වොෂ් සමගින් එන ක්ලෝස් අප් ජෙල් එක ස්ටෝරි එක ස්ටාර්ට් කරන්න.
Hi.
Hi.
Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Hello, good evening and welcome to First at 9. I'm Mohammed Kekanayaka. Let's start with the local stories. Now, the Colombo Additional Magistrate today issued a warrant to arrest former Health Minister Dr. Rajitha Senaratne over the controversial white van media briefing he had called last month. Now, the arrest warrant was issued after taking into consideration the submissions presented by Deputy Solicitor General Dileepa Piris on behalf of the Criminal Investigation Department. He told the court that the former minister had committed an offence under the provisions of Penal Code Ordinance and the President's Election Act, thereby sought a warrant to place him under arrest. Accepting the Deputy Solicitor General's request, Colombo Additional Magistrate B. Nelumdenia put out an arrest warrant on MP Senaratne. The second anticipatory bail application filed by the former Health Minister seeking the prevention of his arrest before he is taken into custody by the CID was then scheduled to be reviewed on the 30th of December. Now, during the briefing in question, the duo had made controversial statements and allegations regarding white vans and purported incidents of certain abductions, assassinations, robberies and forced disappearances during the administration of former President Mahinda Rajapaksa. One of them had claimed that he was a white van driver involved in abducting people, while the other claimed he once served as a driver to transport a stock of gold in previously LTTE held areas.
ජෙල් සීන් ඇක්ෂන් ඇන්ටිජර් මවුත්වොෂ් සමගින් එන ක්ලෝස් අප් ජෙල් එක ස්ටෝරි එක ස්ටාර්ට් කරන්න.
Now, former Minister of Megapolis and Western Development Patali Champika Ranawaka was released on bail by Colombo Additional Magistrate Kanchana De Silva this morning. Announcing the bail order, the magistrate ruled that there is no reason to deny bail for the defendant, given that the arrest under the Public Property Act was done by the Colombo Crime Division without the approval of the Attorney General's Department.
Former Minister Patali Champika Ranawaka was produced before the No. 4 Colombo Magistrates Court this morning in connection with a near-fatal hit-and-run case in 2016 where he is accused of attempting to flee the scene. The UNP parliamentarian is also accused of attempting to avoid culpability by producing another individual as the driver of the vehicle at the time. The victim, Sandeep Sampath, sustained near-life-threatening injuries from the collision between his motorcycle and the minister's SUV. When the case was taken up this morning, Colombo Additional Magistrate Kanchana Neranjana De Silva ordered the ex-minister to be released on a cash bail of 25,000 rupees and two personal sureties of 500,000 rupees each. The UNP MP is also expected to report to the Colombo Crimes Division on every first Sunday between 9 a.m. and 12 p.m. Announcing the bail order, the Colombo Additional Magistrate stated that the arrest of the MP under the Public Property Act was done without the sanction of the Attorney General. The police department's reasoning for including the Public Property Act in its B report was that due to the minister's vehicle being state property, the government incurred a loss of 917,244 rupees. However, this was done without the Attorney General's approval. The magistrate stated that in this backdrop, there is no reason to deny the defendant bail. With the court having granted the CCD permission to question IGP Pooja Jayasundara, who is currently in remand custody, on his involvement in the incident, the magistrate stated that there is no reason to believe that the defendant could interfere with witnesses. Deputy Solicitor General Dilip Piris told court that the case remains more than a simple traffic accident and instead a case involving the machinations of politicians and civil servants to subvert the course of justice. He also revealed that the second accused in the case, Thusita Kumara, has been absent from his workplace since the commencement of the investigations. The court was also informed that another driver of the minister, named Pradeep Alvis, too remains absconding to avoid recording a statement. At this point, the minister's defense counsel attempted to produce the two drivers on the witness stand. Following this development, Deputy Solicitor General Piris inquired from the defense counsels as to the basis for producing driver Pradeep Alvis on the witness stand, given that he hasn't been named a suspect. The additional magistrate then ordered the witness to be removed from the stand and remanded the second suspect, Thusita Kumara, until the 6th of January.
Appearing before the Presidential Commission of Inquiry probing the security lapses leading to the April Easter attacks, Colombo North Police Superintendent Sanjeeva Bandara alleges that the responsibility for the security failure should lie with the IGP and other police higher-ups. The Commission chairman had earlier warned the superintendent against delivering false statements after several contradictions were unearthed during the course of his testimony.
The Presidential Commission of Inquiry summoned Superintendent of Police of the Colombo North Division Sanjeeva Bandara yesterday to record a testimony with regards to the security lapses leading to the deadly Easter Sunday terror attacks in April. In the midst of his testimony, SP Bandara was warned by the chairman of the Commission, Court of Appeal Judge Janak De Silva, about delivering false statements under oath after several contradictions were uncovered in his statement. When queried by Commission Chairman Janak De Silva as to who bears ultimate responsibility for the lapses, SP Bandara stated that it was the IGP and other senior police officers, given that there was ample time for appropriate measures to be actioned to prevent the disaster. SP Bandara revealed that although many meetings involving senior police higher-ups were held to discuss minor issues, no such information on the attack warnings were shared during these meetings. He added that had such information been shared at the time, the security of the sites in question could have been ensured by the police special task force. He further stated that with the ability to summon all officers in charge of police stations within the Colombo district for emergency meetings with just 30 minutes notice, such a calamity could have been avoided had such a meeting been summoned and the information shared. SP Bandara added that he was only made aware of the intelligence warning letter in question circulating on social media on the day following the attacks, at which time he returned to his office and questioned his personal assistant, Inspector R.S. Upendra, who revealed that the letter in question had been faxed to police stations. He then revealed that he had reproached Inspector Upendra for his failure to inform him of the letter. At this point, the Commission members reminded Superintendent Bandara that police personnel questioned by the Commission had revealed that it was Superintendent Bandara who had ordered the falsifying of police logs to show that the letter had been received prior to the attacks. SP Bandara then denied any involvement in the incident, alleging bias against him by the police personnel who made these claims.
Now, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa says he will take all necessary steps to uplift local artists and the arts industry during his tenure. The head of state made this statement addressing a gathering of artists last evening.
The President House hosted a gathering between President Gotabaya Rajapaksa and the country's artists.
සෑම විටම අපේ ප්‍රතිපත්ති මාලාව තුළ තියෙන්නේ දේශීය ව්‍යාපාරිකයා, දේශීය ගොවියා, දේශීය කලාකරුවා ආරක්ෂා කර ගැනීමේ ප්‍රතිපත්තියක්. නිසා මගේ දූර කාලය තුලදී තමුන්නාන්සලාගේ වෙනුවෙන් අපේ රජය දේශීය කලාව සෑම අංශකින්ම ඉහළට ගෙන ඒමට අවශ්‍ය සෑම කැපවීමක්ම කරනවයි කියන එක මේ අවස්ථාවේදී තමුන්නාන්සට තාවුරු කරන්නට ඕන. මට මතකයි රන්මිනිතන්න කලාකරුවන් වෙනුවෙන් ඇති කරපු ඒ ස්ථානය පසුගිය වසර ගණනාව තුල පාවිච්චි කළේ නැහැ. මුත් අපි එයට තවත් අවශ්‍ය පහසුකම් ලබා දීලා ඉදිරියේදී තමුන්නාන්සලාගේ අවශ්‍යතාවයන් වෙනුවෙන් පාවිච්චි කිරීමට සකස් කරලා තිබෙනවා. ඒක ප්‍රයෝජනට ගන්නට කියලා මම ආරාධනය කරනවා. දැන් කොළඹ ඉඳලා ඒ ස්ථානයට පැය 2කමාරකින් පමණ මම හිතන්නේ යන්නට පුළුවන් අධිවේගී මාර්ගය තියෙන නිසා. ඒ වගේම අපි විවිධ ආයතනවල තනතුරු ලබා දීමේදී කලාකරුවන් වෙනුවෙන් සමහර තනතුරු වෙන් කරේ තමුන්නාන්සේලාගේ කළ කැපවීම වගේම කලාකරුවන් ඇගීමේ ඒ ප්‍රතිපත්තිය මුල් කරගෙන.
Now, the past year has seen considerable changes in Sri Lanka, with the country forced to endure many challenges. One significant incident, however, left a scar on the hearts of every Sri Lankan. On Easter Sunday this year, the eyes of the world were fixed on Sri Lanka as a local terror group carried out a spate of suicide attacks, claiming the lives of over 250 people. Now, as the country stands on the cusp of the first Christmas celebration since the attacks, Sri Lankans, both Catholic and non-Catholic, are still struggling to move past the memories of the horrific, heinous attack.
More than 2 billion people in over 160 countries celebrate Christmas world over, which signifies the birth of Jesus Christ. According to the Holy Bible, Jesus Christ was born in Bethlehem as the Saviour of the world and to redeem the mankind from their sins. His teachings command his disciples to spread the message of love, peace and joy throughout the world. The birth of the Son of God this year, however, is celebrated under a dark cloud in Sri Lanka. Given the festive mood and spirit of yesteryears, this year's Christmas celebrations doesn't seem to carry the same exuberance, effervescence and enthusiasm. After all, it is difficult to set aside a heinous massacre of your fellow brothers and sisters. On Easter Sunday, a small local terrorist group carried out a coordinated series of explosions, the reverberations of which are still felt across the country. It claimed the lives of over 250 people, mainly of Catholic faith. Entire houses still remain unopened after the fateful day, with no one spared to open them. With this being the case, Archbishop of Colombo, His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjit, called for a toned-down Christmas celebration, urging people to be humble in their celebrations and remember the departed.
This year in Sri Lanka we have an added reason to celebrate this Christmas in a humble fashion, because on Easter Sunday, due to that terrible attack on our churches and hotels, nearly 300 people lost their life. Others were seriously injured, some of whom are still unconscious and are still in hospital. There are many families who are broken completely and are living in a hopeless situation. Therefore, we others cannot celebrate and enjoy and ignore these people. It is important for us, therefore, this Christmas to spend it in a humble way. Do enjoy Christmas. Do have a family gathering together. Give presents to each other. There's nothing wrong in that. But in all these things, think about those people who have suffered this terrible loss. And if you can help them, please do help them. And if you can show your solidarity through your prayers, please do that. And please tell your children to think about these people, their families, their children whose hopes have been dashed due to this unfortunate incident.
The message truly seems to have sunk in, as streets which are normally adorned with Christmas decorations are left bare this year.
Now, with bad weather having battered the country in the past few months, inundating most parts of the country, the Department of Meteorology promises a welcome temporary Christmas break in the inclement weather from tomorrow onwards.
The people of Sri Lanka had to deal with extreme showery conditions and its repercussions brought on by the northeastern monsoon during the festive season. The prevailing situation due to the heavy rainfall in the last 24 hours in the Kalutara district was reported to have flooded the area of Arachimulle in Bentota. Due to this, vehicular movement was disrupted along the Alpiti-Aludgama main road. The downpour also caused the Mahaveli River to break banks and spill over into the Somavati Diggala region, flooding the sacred Somavati temple along with the roads giving access to and from the sacred site. Due to the prevailing weather conditions over the Anuradhapura region today, the Rajangana Reservoir opened 8 out of its 32 spill gates. While the people of the Gangevadiya fishing village said that due to the Kalawaya overflowing, they are unable to engage in their main livelihood, resulting in their families experiencing extreme hardships. The flood situation in Aluankulam of Putlam has forced the authorities to evacuate the residents of the village to the new Aluankulam College, where officials have provided them with all necessary facilities. In the meantime, due to a landslide warning in the Hirigala estate area of Monaragala, 39 families were evacuated to the premises of the Monaragala Technical College. Villagers, however, alleged that the authorities are not giving them the due attention they are entitled to. But there could be a reprieve from the rains in the horizon, as the Department of Meteorology had this to say.
Weather forecast for next 36 hours. Showery condition over the island is likely to temporarily reduce to some extent from tomorrow. Several spells of showers will occur in the northern, north central, over and eastern provinces and in Hambantota district. Showers or thundershowers will occur at a few places elsewhere after 1 p.m. Light showers will occur in the central province during the morning too. Misty conditions can be expected at some places in western, central and Saparagama provinces during the morning. I'm Derana, Singha, meteorologist.
Now, 3 Indian nationals and a local driver lost their lives in a collision along the Southern Expressway. A van carrying them collided with the rear of a container carrier at around 7 p.m. last night. Both vehicles had been heading towards Colombo when the collision occurred in the area of Kurdugaha Hatakma near the 62nd kilometre post. 5 people and the driver of the van were rushed to the Alpiti and Nagoda hospitals with injuries, but 4 of them did not survive. The van was carrying 4 members of the same family and a relative of theirs who had been holidaying in Sri Lanka. Among the deceased are a 44-year-old woman, that is, her 18-year-old son, a relative of theirs, and the local driver. The 44-year-old husband and daughter, however, are being his daughter, however, are being treated at the Karapiti hospital. While the cause of the accident is yet to be ascertained, police are conducting further investigations. Supreme Court Justice President's Counsel Prasanna Jayawardena passed away while receiving medical treatment at a private hospital in Colombo. Justice Jayawardena was a sitting puisne judge of the Supreme Court of Sri Lanka, prior to which he was a senior member of the unofficial bar. He was appointed to the Supreme Court as a judge by then-President Maithripala Sirisena in June of 2016. In January 2017, he was appointed by President Sirisena to a 3-member Special Presidential Commission of Inquiry to investigate the bond issuance at the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. We'll return after this very short break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. This is First at 9. Now, Sri Lankan economist, academic and author Professor W.D. Lakshman has taken over at the Central Bank of Sri Lanka as its new governor. Professor Lakshman assumed duties today and takes over from former CBSL Governor Dr. Indrajit Kumaraswamy, who stepped down from his position on the 20th of December after tendering his resignation last month. Deshamanya Veligamage Don Lakshman was the former Vice-Chancellor of the University of Colombo from 1994 to 1999. He is one of the foremost and eminent economists in the country who has contributed to various areas such as academics and administrative aspects. Professor Lakshman also completed his doctoral studies at the prestigious University of Oxford in the UK, becoming a Doctor of Philosophy. Now, in the meantime, world-renowned Cambridge University development economist Dr. Harjun Chang hails the appointment of Professor W.D. Lakshman as the governor of the central bank. Now, Professor Harjun Chang termed the appointment a move towards the running of the institution not simply as a monetary institution, but as a flagship in a fleet of public institutions fighting a battle for the country's economic regeneration and development. Dr. Chang is also the author of many international bestsellers on the subject of economics, globalization and development, as well as views the appointment as a step in the right direction for the country's economic reforms. Now, the Central Bank's Statistics Department's inflation report for the month of November shows decreases in hardline inflation as measured by the year-on-year change in the National Consumer Price Index. It shows that headline inflation for the month of November 2019 has shown a decrease to 4.1% from 5.6% in October, with food inflation showing a more substantial decrease to 4% from 7.3% in October. Meanwhile, non-food inflation showed a marginal decrease to 4.2% for November from 4.3% in the previous month. The change in the NCPI measured on an annual average basis increased to 3% in November 2019 from 2.8% in October 2019. The monthly change in the NCPI recorded 0.8% for the month solely due to increases observed in the food items category for foods or goods such as rice, vegetables, red onions and coconuts. Meanwhile, non-food items showed a marginal decrease in alcoholic beverages and tobacco, as well as housing, water, electricity, gas and other fuel subcategories. Core inflation too recorded a marginal decrease down to 5.5% in November from 5.6% month before. The only increase recorded was the annual average core inflation, which increased to 5.6% from 5.4% for October. Now, Boeing has fired its chief executive Dennis Muilenburg as the company seeks to restore confidence in the firm after two deadly crashes, both involving its MAX 737 aircraft. Over 340 people died in the disasters, prompting accusations that Boeing put profit before safety. Now, Boeing has decided to replace Muilenburg with its chairman, David Calhoun, who has served on the firm's board since 2009. The company said that he will serve as CEO and president effective from the 13th of January next year. The move, however, was questioned by the families of the victims, saying it raised questions about its commitment to change. The company said that a leadership change was necessary to restore confidence in the company moving forward as it works to repair relationships with the regulators, consumers, and all other stakeholders. Now, Sri Lanka's stocks closed 0.38% higher today, provisional data showed at the end of trading. The main all-share price index closed 23.10 points down at 6,054.91. The ASPI was volatile throughout the day, reaching a daily high of 6,060 before noon to close at 6,054.91. The S&P SL20 index of more liquid stocks closed 1.33% or 38.84 points up at 2,966.53. Market turnover was 132.2 million rupees, while 81 stocks gained and 36 fell. Distilleries Company of Sri Lanka closed 50 cents up at 18.50 rupees a share, contributing most to all the ASPI fall. Sampath Bank closed 3.90 rupees up at 168.90 per share, while LOLC Finance gained 20 cents to 3.90 rupees a share. Now, Sri Lanka's rupee closed weaker at 181 rupees and 35 to 45 cents to the US dollar in the spot market today, while gilt yields eased brokers and dealers. Now, the rupee closed at 181 rupees and 30 to 40 cents to the greenback on Monday. Now, let's take a look at how the Sri Lankan rupee traded against other major currencies during the day. Welcome back. You're watching First at 9. Now, an Indonesian passenger bus plunged 150 meters over a hill, landing deep in a ravine last night, killing at least 26 people and leaving 13 injured. The bus, with about 50 passengers on board, crashed on the way to Palembang from Bengkulu at around 11:15 p.m. local time. The cause of the accident is still being investigated. Traffic accidents can be commonplace in Indonesia, with highways in the archipelago surrounded by rough terrain and some public vehicles lacking safety instruments. Last year, 27 people died after a tourist bus ran off the road and overturned in West Java province. 2 months later, 2 accidents in West Java killed at least 15 people. U.S. Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer has called for documents and testimony from all key officials as part of the upcoming impeachment trial of President Donald Trump, including emails and other communications held by the White House and State Department. In a letter to his 99 fellow senators, Schumer wrote that denying the Senate these documents would be to turn a willfully blind eye to the facts in the abuse of power and obstruction of Congress charges against Trump that were approved by the House of Representatives last week. On Thursday, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, a Republican, said that he and Schumer were at an impasse over the Democrats' demand for 4 administration witnesses to testify and for documents to be entered into the trial record. Now, the Republican president was charged with abuse of power and obstructing Congress investigation. He said that he did not do anything wrong.
It's hard to imagine a trial not having documents and witnesses. We, at the very minimum, will require votes from all the senators on each of the witnesses and about each of these sets of documents. And I don't think my colleagues, Democrat or Republican, are going to want to vote to withhold evidence in such an important trial. That he is probably, and President Trump is probably, not certainly, but it seems to the average person they're hiding the truth. They're afraid of the truth.
Now, in the meantime, 5 people were hospitalized today when a promotional Christmas event ended in a stampede at a shopping mall in a Sydney suburb. The stampede occurred after an event billed as the ultimate mega balloon drop led to shoppers scrambling for free gifts. Local media reported that some shoppers had suffered chest, neck, leg and back injuries. Now, the group, which owns and operates the Westfield shopping chain in Australia, has told local media that it is currently investigating the incident. Sri Lankan under-19 cricket team, which won the Tri-Nation Series worked off in the West Indies, returned to the island today. Now, they beat hosts West Indies and England in the under-19 series. Sri Lanka under-19s trounced their English counterparts in the final, winning it by 77 runs. Nipul Dhananjay led the side that saw Sri Lanka clinch the series championship. Now, Sri Lanka's women rowers, meanwhile, closed off the country's sports calendar on a winning note, grabbing silver in the lightweight quadruple sculls event at the Asia Cup in Pattaya, Thailand. Now, the victorious team arrived back in the island last evening. The silver medal is the country's maiden international rowing accolade. In addition, the women's team also managed to win a bronze in the women's open event at the competition. And that's it from all of us here at First at 9. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.